sure this is all right. There we go. All right, so we're actually live now, Lando. What's going on, man? It's your boy Foots, Lando. I called my boy. We just kind of talking shop, and I called you. I said, yo, Lando, you wanna review this mock? And I think it's relevant because Dane, he does great work. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, he does great work, and I think that he's very well studied. Dude, he has literally so many prospects that he's covering.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm doing a draft guide at this time. It doesn't compare to how many people and players that Dane has gotten through to and that he's covered. So I wanted to ask you, Lando, before we kind of get started, how are you feeling? Because you need no introduction. How are you just feeling about the temperature of what's going on in the Cowboy space draft-wise? Like, how do you feel? Is it one of those things like, I don't believe some of this stuff, some nuggets? You talked to me pre-show about some nuggets as far as what Steven is saying. How are you feeling right now, Lando?
To the nugget point, I love nuggets. I can't discriminate against nuggets, by the way, but we love transcribing the things that the Joneses are saying. For one, because they're actually really good at getting people to talk about what they're saying, but two, there's a lot of subliminal messaging that happens. But what I've noticed, actually, at least within the past couple of years, when Steven speaks, he's pretty direct. Like Jerry is the guy who he's gonna sort of he'll try to lead you through what's those things when you're a kid. What are they called when it's like a false reality, and it's like a maze where there's like infinite mirrors and different puzzles and things. And it's like Jerry's just trying to pretzel your brain with the things that he says. But yes, I feel like Steven is much more direct, and he will slip pretty easily. And so one of the things was people rightfully talked about how he mentioned the trade down being likely or possible.
I want to, before we talk about his mock, I talked about this yesterday with John. I did not mean to cut you off like that, Lando.
Oh, you're good. I love this.
But I slept on this too. Finish your nugget, but I got to tell you, something tells me this dude is playing chess, but continue.
Yeah, so that's the first thing I noticed too. I wrote about it last night, and that's going to be my next video. Like after we jump off, I know you said you got to go get your workout in. I got my lift in this morning, so I'm feeling pretty good too. But I'm going to post something, and it's going to be continuing along the same thought process that I've been writing about for a while. And it's that something's got to be in the pipeline, starting with the creation of the 55 mil. But Steven said at the end it's around the 12-minute mark of that interview on 105 through the Fan, he said, we're not done yet, when asked about sort of the state of the roster and the things that they've done in free agency. So he teased, he's like, I like some of the things that we've done as far as freeing ourselves up, which is what you and I subscribe to. We love that idea of not entering the draft feeling desperate at any singular position. There's still a couple holes that they could fill to achieve that, right? If we want to be completely honest with ourselves now. And so Steven's words, and I quote, "We're not done yet." Now, that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to happen between now and the draft, but they're going to try. They're going to, if something makes sense, they're actively looking for ways to improve their roster as long as it's financially acceptable. And then another thing that I'm just going to kind of tease in the interim is May 2nd. That's a conversation I had with your guy Nick's last night when we were talking about the comp pick.
Shout out to Nick's.
Yep. I've been pretty outspoken about the comp pick formula and just how that works with how the Cowboys value business and the way that they conduct themselves within that formula. But May 2nd, outside free agent acquisitions no longer affect that formula. So that's another important date to kind of keep in mind as far as adding to this roster. They don't have to be done once the draft concludes, via trade or free agency. It can continue. And I think that's honestly what they kind of prefer. So all in all, I'm feeling pretty good, I guess.
Hey, man, got 200 people in here. We just getting started. So this is going to be a banger. Lando, can't thank you enough for doing this. And again, you do a great job first of all, you're a great writer. But then you do a great job with finding these nuggets, and we're close. I told myself after this week, I'm kind of shutting it down. I'm just gonna enjoy the draft. But this week, my goal on the channel, bro, I just want to get as much information. I want as many takes. I want guests like yourself. I got a few more people lined up. Had John Machode on, had Joe Hoyt on, have had David Hellman on. I've had some names on.
That's a lineup right there, man.
I've had Zach Wolchuk. Of course, you'll always click on the videos and see how me and Voch feel. So at the end of the day, like being able to try to get all these perspectives and getting yourself, that's kind of like the goal. Zach, Sky, like being able to get all these perspectives, that's kind of where I'm like moving. And I wanted to get your perspective because Dane Brugler just dropped a mock draft. And I'm gonna add this to the channel, not to the channel. I'm gonna add this to the show. Yeah, to the show. Lost for word. And what I want to do is honestly, bro, I want to ask you, like, how are you feeling? We'll go pick by pick, but you cover the Texas Longhorns. So, and this got a lot of pub. Where actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the responses. We'll look at just how the fans feel because it's not always about what we think. I'm not an expert. Yes, I do love the draft, but I've gotten things wrong. That's the whole point. You got to go out on a limb. You can't just play defense. So I don't do that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, I think that Dane is he does a great job. And then again, you are living that Texas world. So for anybody who thinks they may have reserves about Matthew Golden, because I have my thoughts. And by the way, in this mock, Ted McMillan was gone. Tell me and sell me on Matthew Golden, Lando, because you watched him closely. You watched Quinn Ewers. And see, I don't like when this is my pet peeve about draft, right? And people are doing it with Ted. I like to talk to fans, and you cover the team, so you're a step up, right? Yeah. People will tell you how they feel later, but Lando was really watching in real time.
Yep.
And guys, make sure you guys smashing the like button as well. You were watching them and you were watching the Longhorns in real time. So tell me about Matthew Golden. Tell me about his production, lack thereof. Was it Quinn Ewers? Like, give me the full rundown. And if this was the pick at 12, would you like it?
First of all, just off the top, yes, I would be completely okay with this pick. This is a guy that Houston native, went to the University of Houston and gave Texas fits, honestly. And I think that was like an eye-opener for Steve Sarkisian when he realized he was going to be losing a couple different pass catchers, you know, with the JT Sanders, the Xavier Worthies, the AD Mitchells. Those are top three round pass catchers from the draft class the year before. And so it didn't take long for the rumors of Steve Sarkisian being in the Matthew Golden sweepstakes to start catching the Texas Twitter world and just the recruiting world, the portal world, all that stuff. And so you see that they sort of follow that up with the other addition of Isaiah Bond, which is a tough pill for anybody to swallow who is a fan of the team, who just wants to see every Texas player succeed like I do and wants the best for them. Isaiah Bond is in a tough situation, but off the field stuff aside, he was the guy that most people expected to come in and to sort of be the focal point of the offense, like the first option within Steve Sarkisian's system.
Yes.
A guy that can move across the formation, a guy that, you know, a lot of people thought could rivals Xavier Worthy's 40 time with real lethal speed, take the top off speed, like game change ability. But he's also, I actually think that Isaiah Bond had that ability to sort of, he was a little bit more advanced as a technician, a route running technician, just because he was a little bit stronger at the stem, I guess, like whenever he was getting pressed up and stuff than Xavier Worthy was. But with Matthew Golden, the point about Isaiah Bond, though, he was hurt for most of the season, and even when he was playing towards the end, he wasn't right. So Matthew Golden had to sort of seamlessly transition into that leadership role, and and just there's countless occasions like the body contortion, the strong hands, all those sorts of things. Those are well documented, but it's just I think the peak way to process what Matthew Golden can do for you and who he really is 4th and 13 with the game on the line in the college football playoff against Arizona State. He knows exactly where to be. The moment's not too big and the lights aren't too bright. He wins, he tracks, and he secures the touchdown to force overtime, and eventually Texas wins that game. And so that's just kind of there's no question marks about character and work ethic. Steve Sarkisian was very all season long. Some of the guys that he would highlight would be obviously Kelvin Banks for the character, and then it would be you would hear things about Quinn Ewers for his sort of consistency and his stability. But then Matthew Golden was a guy that continued popping up as a player that Steve Sarkisian just trusted and relied upon. And I think that just kind of goes to show you when everybody expects an Alabama transfer to come in just because of the helmet that he put on versus Matthew Golden coming from the University of Houston. It just goes to show you that a lot of times what you got up here between the ears, the mentality and the work ethic, and even just staying quiet and just kind of letting the moment come to you. It's just a testament to the character, but the character, the sports psychology is something that I'm obviously privy to, just being a former athlete in my own right, but seeing those moments continue to pop up over and over again all season long with Matthew Golden, it was really cool. And now the best part about it was that nobody even really knew that he could run as fast as he could because he didn't depend on that to have success at the college football level, right? He was doing all the shallow to intermediate things. He was the move player when Isaiah Bond was out across the formation. So like, as you well know, playing in the slot, a lot of times you're the primary read in a pro style system like Steve Sarkisian. That's a guy who is going to require his the chess pieces within his offense to be able to be multifaceted and versatile. And Matthew Golden never flinched. And so I understand like some of the advanced analytics and things like that people have questions about, but there's it's the ultimate team sport at the end of the day, man. And to me, the prospect of Matthew Golden, just knowing how he's wired, he's going to come in and he's going to work hard. And the talent is obvious. The physical ability is already there. But I know enough about the Matthew Golden, the person, to know that this would be an exceptional selection. Now, I will also say what we talked about on the phone, you told me to hold it for the show, is that I do think Teteroa McMillan is the player that comes with the least amount of questions, right? There are question marks about Matthew Golden. Some people might say that there's questions about Teteroa McMillan as well, but I believe that, whatever you say that he may lack as far as separation is concerned, he more than makes up for with length and catch radius and honestly fluidity. For a guy that's his size, I do think he's a rare athlete and a rare mover with ballerina feet for a 6'4", 6'5" player. But Teteroa McMillan wins because of that length, right? So it's almost like a double-edged sword where people say that they use that length against him. They don't think that he can separate just because he's longer levered. But those long levers are going to be the prototypical advantage that you're talking about. Like, if he's got all of this, that's the fulcrum, right? Just a little bit of that at the top of the stem, just to kind of create that separation. That's more that he has. That's more that he can do, just within any particular route stem, right? But within the NFL, quarterbacks are obviously already sharp anyway. So it's like wide open is considered 1 yard of separation. That's open, and then wide open is considered 3 yards of separation.
Yes.
But even if the thing about Teteroa McMillan is he doesn't have to have 1 yard of separation to be wide open either.
Body positioning, the whole nine.
All that.
Yeah.
And the catch radius too.
It's a real thing. That's what I've been trying to hammer home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a real thing. And like we said, I think we talked about this the last time we recorded with Zach. 1,300 yards, 2 years in a row. It's no fluke. But they had a brand new system. this year, right?
Oh yeah.
New coaches, shaky quarterback play at best.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
No
Followed it
yeah.
up. And people knew who he was.
Yeah.
After, early point in the season when I think is when he had that conversation with Travis Hunter. That's a pretty fun conversation. If you guys haven't heard that, I would recommend getting both of their just the athlete perspective, because those two did match up against one another. But you hear the unquestioned best talent in the class, and Travis Hunter say that in a roundabout way, Tetairoa McMillan is that dude. Like, he's like, you are that guy, bro. And so that to me, that was cool to hear. Just that added validation, the verification of people are saying, okay, this is the unquestioned top talent in the class. And a lot of people think that he's going to play corner because it's easier to be full-time at corner and then have some scripted things for you offensively or even in the return game. That to me is it's easier than being a spot corner. Like, you don't ever hear that because it's a dependent position. You're reacting to what's happening, so you can just control the environment a lot more if you're a full-time corner than you can if you're a full-time receiver.
Yeah.
So to me, man, I don't think it's a long-winded way of saying I don't think there's a wrong way to go at 12, and it's very well documented. It's Stephen Jones himself saying, we're looking for a rare trait. Okay, so dissecting or transcribing those words in my head, okay, Matthew Golden has the rare speed trait. Most people say he hasn't even figured it out yet from a route running nuance perspective. You can probably talk in depth about that too. I think there are some intricacies of the position that he can improve upon. But if that's the case, and he's already where he is today, but he still isn't even considered a master of the position yet, what's that going to look like? Similar note, with Tetairoa McMillan, what's it going to look like when he's got a quarterback who really can pinpoint the football? And and then also too, maybe even more importantly, play alongside CeeDee Lamb, who is going to command all of the brackets. He's going to command all of the attention. Tetairoa McMillan is no longer going to be the focal point. If that's a 1,400 yard guy with poor quarterback or average at best quarterback play, and he's the focal point, what is he as a number 2 option? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but he's got the rare trait, the rare ability of catch radius, physicality. And so I think it's applicable both ways, but the fewest amount of question marks are obviously Tetairoa McMillan, but you can't go wrong at this position because of what I know, the way that Matthew Golden is wired. It's a home run for me personally.
What a great answer. I wanted you to take your time. You know all things Texas. Somebody said, Foots, can you give him a hook 'em? I don't want to get in trouble for doing that. Just a dude. I don't know if I'm allowed.
I can give you one of these.
All right.
There we go. Okay. So I do like Texas. I think, listen, I'm not the biggest college football fan. I just watch players. I've always been that way. And I just watch whatever game is on. I'm just a football fanatic. I'm a nut when it comes to football. So I don't wear jerseys or anything like that. And so that's really what piqued my interest when it came to the draft. And I study programs in Atlanta. You know Texas like the back of your hand. Mm-hmm. Okay. High level, golden TED talk. I think for me, I just kind of said it earlier. I've been on multiple streams with others and channels and myself, and I just think that TED, it's just extreme overthought when it comes to the separation aspect of it. He's a great football player. Yes. Use your eyes. Yes. Nobody ever thought when they were watching TED make plays. I mean, you can go back to 2023 when he had that breakout year and he's going through his legs and he had that catch where it's here. Nobody ever stopped and said, oh, he doesn't separate well. Nobody ever thought that. It was always he can play good football, and I believe so. And I really think that he helps CeeDee because he's day one ready. And I think that Matthew Golden is as well. I think you would probably have to use him more of a move player. But again, Stephen Jones said explosive number 2. That is Matthew Golden. And if Dane put him there, these guys don't want to be wrong on these mock drafts, right? So if he put him there, I've narrowed it down to Amarian Hampton, Matthew Golden, or Tedoroa McMillan. Like those will be the picks at 12. Based on what I'm hearing. Well, what Mel Kiper has done multiple times.
Yep.
4 times now counting. Matthew
Yeah.
Golden, Dane Brugler gave Dallas Matthew Golden, and then we've seen Tet there as well from Todd McShay. So you start to get in the weeds, and I'll be happy with either of them because again, this Cowboys roster isn't that far off, especially with the way they patched holes in the free agency period. So yeah.
Can I add one? So I don't want to subscribe personally just to like I want to challenge conventional wisdom personally. And I like getting people to think outside the box. So on that front, let's just have a little bit of a conversation. I'll play devil's advocate. I don't necessarily know that I'm playing devil's advocate because I actually believe strongly in this. So I just want to get people to think outside the box real quick. So let's start with pick 76. Cowboys third round draft selection. Dane Brugler has the Cowboys selecting defensive tackle Shamar Turner out of Texas A&M. Foots, is there somebody that you have identified? And I know that there is. So, but I just want to see if I can get you to single out any one guy that you have somewhere in that range. Okay. Shamar Turner is more of a tweener body type, right? He's not a he
was the DN last year. They put him on weight. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's already heavy for his frame, if you will. Right. He's 290. You're not really, that's not a guy that at 6'3" that you're going to say, okay, really good athlete, right? Like he could certainly stand to add some weight, but it's just, that's not really who he's been. You know, he's been more of a penetrator, right? I think the Cowboys have enough of that personally. And I don't know if it's just fatigue for me, just like, that's always been sort of what the Cowboys were good at as far as penetrating, getting after the quarterback, pass rush type things, right? With under the Dan Quinn scheme. And even last year, the personnel just didn't allow for Mike Zimmer to do what he really wanted to do ultimately up front, right? With his one techs. Linval Joseph was just a stopgap. He was a plug. But for me, Shamar Turner, is it too much pass rush and penetration? And would you have preferred to see Dane say, pick your favorite defensive tackle that's more of your one tech 310 plus pound body type run stopper here, as opposed to another pass rushing tweener and Shamar Turner? What do you think?
So I've heard Dane talk about Turner. This is a great question. And then guys, what we'll do is, because I know that Tyron Smith is about to talk, so we'll keep this under 30 minutes. Because I know I will actually want to listen to Tyron. And this is great talk. So we'll hit Quinshon Judkins, we'll hit Shamar Turner right now. And then I actually have one name on there, Jordan Hancock, that I really like that Dane gave us. Then the rest of the guys I watched in passing. I've watched Jack Nelson.
Hayden Connor too. I can handle that one pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, because you Texas. Okay, so Shamar Turner, here we go. For me, yes, you're spot on. I think there actually is run stopping upside because he's shown that on film. See, Texas A&M ran a very quirky defense. So with Scourton, with Shamar Stewart, I love Shamar Stewart, but people don't like Shamar Stewart, and I get it. But I do like the fact that he has that ability, and I like Dane's overarching plan. Get your offense early and throw everything else defense, and I'm not mad at that. My name would have been Jordan Phillips. I just think his body, his frame from Maryland, he's so technical against the run. He just has a bag. Him and Darius Alexander have that bag that they could come in and stack the run when Mozzie's not in the game or whoever else your one tech would be, and they could just do that year one. Did I take you out of there, Lando? Was that me?
I think I kicked myself somehow. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know. But,
okay.
I like your thoughts there.
Jordan Phillips would be the name if you wanted a name. Yeah.
Sure. That's a great one. And I just want to get people to think outside the box. Like I said, I do think that Shamar Turner, he's the want to and the will is there, like as far as violence and motor are concerned. But if you're lining up against a team like the Bills, who's already proven, the Buffalo blueprint, or just whoever, if a team is committed to heavier personnel, 12, 13, 22, 21, whatever the case may be, Shamar Turner, does he get washed out? Like if he's your relied upon hybridized body type in there. I just want, for me, embodying what Shadi is clearly pushing towards with the physicality and the culture change as far as violence and ground and pound and just old school football, right? I think that's really what this staff is trying to get to. That for me would be my only critique. And no, it's not because I'm an A&M hater. I promise you that. I just want to make sure that we're addressing the ability first to not just run the football, but also be able to stop it. And I want that to still remain the focal point. So Alfred Collins, by the way, is another name that I'll go in depth on some more. I've already written about that, but he went in this mock, I think, just at a few picks prior to 66 to the Chiefs, just before the Cowboys 76 overall selection. I think that's a guy he's an oversized penetrating body type. So at 6'6", 330, I comped him to it's a popular name at the defensive tackle position right now, for obvious reasons, but Chris Jones, right? Because there's very few guys at 6'6", 300 plus that can move the way that those guys can and play all along the formation. Can run stop if you want him to, can hold double teams if you want to because of the frame. Like Alfred Collins is a guy I'm okay trading up for, really. Like if you go receiver, running back, and then package your fifth to jump up a few extra spots to make sure you get Alfred Collins and address the interior of your defensive line position after getting two stud playmaking offensive weapons
players.
You're doing something for yourself. And then real quickly, just so we can stay on time here with Hayden Connor, it's just in its simplest form, guys, 4-year contributor at Texas, almost exclusively to the left guard position. Power player, not a great athlete. So fits the body type, right? Once again, 6'6", 315, I think was his height weight. I can check.
It's the makeup.
Yeah. So the frame is massive. And you actually think that's a guy that could, and it's the 6'6" frame, but power is, he's not an athlete. He's not a mover. He wins with power. That's his superpower. Like there were games watching Texas last year. They sustained like a 14 or 15 play drive, 15 consecutive runs to close out Texas A&M. And it was, I think they chewed almost 7 minutes of clock to control that game and to win it. But I kept thinking to myself, and I'm pretty sure I tweeted it numerous times, follow 76. Travion Wisner, Jaden Blue, they're following 76. And this dude it is personal to him. Texas, I
haven't watched him, Lando, so I want to really watch him.
Now, in space against somebody like Micah Parsons, you line him up in A gap. Hayden Connor is in a world of hurt. He's getting bullied.
Well, actually, I'm sure I watched him because I watched Kelvin Banks, but I haven't zeroed in on him.
Yeah, key in on 76. You'll just see it. You'll question the athleticism as you should, but then when you watch him and he can actually get a little bit of momentum, the power is there and it's fun.
The power is there. Okay. Yeah.
So, but that fits their body type. Cowboys, everybody that they're bringing in and everybody that they're looking at right now, as far as 30 draft visits are concerned, are all 6'4" plus and 325 plus. So there's a very clear type. Yeah,
it's the type. Yeah. I'll talk Quinshon Judkins. For me, I just think that he has that. There's a few backs in this draft, that are day one, body ready, body beautiful, ready to play football. Fits the mold of that. He was a 4.4 guy at the combine. He's not Travion Henderson burner, but he's also built a little bit sturdier. He can handle 20 carries a game. He can come in day one, year one, and take over your starting role. Maybe a guy like Miles Sanders is your 2, or Javonte Williams is your 2, and then maybe Deuce Vaughn is in the plans as far as a third down scat guy. But you can look at Quinshon Judkins, and he can be your every down guy, body frame wise, and I think that's why they love Omarion Hampton so much. I think that's why they love Damian Martinez so much, because a lot of people love these backs. Oh, greatest running back class ever. Yes, cool, that's fine. Until you put these guys in an NFL uniform, and now they have to go block, name the linebacker, go block Bobby Wagner, go block Zach Bond, go block whoever that's coming up the A gap. And then it's different. Yes. And then their 21-year-old, 22-year-old, 23-year-old body shows up. Now, I'll say this, Braylon Allen was fine. you know, and because he's built a certain way. It's different in the NFL. I think that Judkins he fits that mold and he does the things well. As well as Travion Henderson played, I went back and watched. Dude, go watch that Tennessee game. Between the tackles, Judkins was literally just as good. And even you played against him in the championship game. Same deal. No, yes, y'all did. Yeah. And it was the same
the semis.
The semis. Same type vibe. And so I just think he'd be a name. I really like Cody Simon. There's a lot of Ohio State on here, so he must know some things. But Jordan Hancock,
Texas and Ohio State fill up your draft for you. You might be all right.
and I think Will's not going to play the small school game this year.
Yeah.
I want to say this though. Jordan Hancock is really interesting because I'm telling you guys now. I think Dallas will be trying to find this year's in this team's Kyle Gordon, and he just got paid. Matt Eberflus used him, and I think people think that it's going to be Matt Eberflus running, 3 linebackers back there all game, and that's not the case.
No.
Go watch the Bears play, and I had Cody Alexander on. He's multiple on the back end, and I don't know if he's going to love this safety room, and he may say, I want a guy who can do all the things.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I really like Hancock. I mean, that Ohio State secondary was cool, man. Lathan Ransom. I mean, you Caleb Downs obviously isn't coming out this year, but maybe the best player in football. Like, it's crazy. Ohio State may have the 2 best players in football on their team, in college football on their team next year. So in short, I think if I had to grade this, and everybody in the chat, give me your grades for this mock, I'm going to give this mock a solid B. I probably would have doubled down on running back, especially as I looked at, because I want to really hammer home the running back position and have 2 studs. So I would have doubled down on running back, and like you said, I would have got a bigger body at D tackle. Other than that, man, Dane is the industry standard. Dane does great work, and to be able to even cover this mock, and I've talked to Dane multiple times. Like, he's a great person, and I think that he did a really good job with this 7-rounder for the Cowboys.
Could I interest you one more quick think piece? If you were to swap Quinshon Judkins with Dylan Sampson in the 3rd, because he went after 76 in this hypothetical here, and then and then instead add Azariah Thomas as your 2nd selection. So you take Golden, Azariah Thomas, who is Wanya Thomas's brother, by the way. And there's a specific reason why I'm mentioning his name. Not the most fluid athlete at the corner position, but he fits the length, the physicality, and right here, y'all. I'm telling you, if you haven't listened to that, maybe I'll touch on this today too. If you haven't listened to his interview on NFL Network, do it. You will see right away the makeup that this kid has. This is a kid.
He's big on his faith. Yes.
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you right now. I'll just go so far as to say as Azariah Thomas, that's going to be a guy that's going to be an all-pro and a 10-year player in this league. I'm just going to book that right now, just because you don't hear people talk and not flinch and look you directly in the camera on national television, when that's not even what you really do, unless you're really about that behind the scenes. He's not faking his faith. He's not faking his leadership. That's a kid that really gets it. I'm telling you right now.
1,000%.
Yeah. So Azariah Thomas in the 2nd at 56, and then Dylan Sampson at 76. Wait, what did I just say? You had it right. No, you got it right. There you go. So how would you feel about that? Or anybody?
No, I would love that, because I've been trying to get a corner on this team.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I'm okay. I'm okay with not getting the end. I'm okay with, even if we didn't get he went backer later, and I'll pull it back up. He went backer later. But I'm with you. Like, I would be okay with swapping that out. Like I said, the thinking is good to me. Yeah. Offense early, throw everything else on the defensive side of the ball. Offense early, but we're addressing weapons. We are addressing weapons, Lando. So I'm not mad at that at all. And again, Savon Ravel could be a guy who, obviously the need, but they're saying he'll be ready for training camp. I don't know if I would want to do that. I would honestly feel more okay. I don't know where Ben Morrison went in the total mock, but having Ben Morrison there, because Lando, if you watch this guy play press coverage, it is textbook.
Yep.
But the hip injury. So if I'm going to take a chance on a guy who whose technique is literally lights out, it would be Ben Morrison for me. But I see what you're saying as far as putting a corner there, because that's a premium position. We got to be honest.
Premium.
Yeah, running back is not.
It's not like running back where these guys are just available and you can insert them in on day 3 all the time. Like it's just a more difficult position to find. It's like offensive tackle or offensive line. The best ones in the league usually go round 1 or round 2. And that's just kind of the way that it is. So to me, I'm just like, all right, if we have a glaring hole there, we're not trading for Jalen Ramsey, which we could. A little teaser there too, but let's go and address that early. Like let's get a premium player. And you know, to Robert Sullivan's point or his message here, draft a guy because of his faith. Dumb. No, you clearly misunderstood what I said. The faith is a bonus, right? It's the skill set that makes him a first round or second round projection.
No, he could play very well.
He could play. He was on a terrible team last year. He could have quit and mailed it in as a first round prospect and said, screw y'all, I'm going to focus on the draft only. He didn't do that because of his leadership and the way that he's wired and the love for the game. That's the thing that you can tell when you listen to a guy speak. If you've been in locker rooms before, professional locker rooms, and you understand how guys work, the way that they tick, and you can also smell BS from a mile away when somebody's talking. I've learned this. I think it's something that I'm huge on as sports below the surface guy. The faith is the bonus. That's not the premise of the selection. That's the bonus. That's the cherry on top. It's the skill set, but the way that he's wired that makes him an all-pro caliber player. Go listen to the interview and you will understand what I'm saying.
And I'll be honest. I mean, I speak on it, Rob. I didn't even see that comment, but I'm big on my faith. So that's a plus for me. Like I'm big on, like I speak on it, like people who I like people who, because I heard him interview at the Senior Bowl. And again, like he's a fiery competitor who knows who he is. A lot of these kids don't know who they are. That's how you end up with Kelvin Joseph, wants to be a rapper. He's not focused. Yeah. He's not. Yeah. Like, give me somebody who is focused. So I'm fine with what you said, Landon, and I agree. So
he's a dog. He plays like a dog too. Like
you're not getting a church boy, but at the end of the day, like, I mean, his brother's not a church boy, but they know who they are. It's a difference. So Lando, what a great show, man. This was good, man, for us to just, this came out and I said, you know what, let me call Lando and see if he would want to touch on it. And we hit it, man. And you know what, it really was dope because again, you locked in with Texas coverage and, a couple Texas athletes on this mock. So Lando, thank you as always, man, for jumping in with me. I appreciate you. I mean, anybody on my platform, make sure you guys are following and subscribing to Lando at the Lando Show on Twitter. He's everywhere. He's a true GOAT, man.
Thank you, Foots. Appreciate you, man.
All right. Much love, y'all. We're gone. I will see you guys. Listen, the rest of this week isn't over. We're going to keep it going. Much love to y'all.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Peace.